Now that our API is secure, if we go back to our Dundee server, let me copy this URL one more time. What we need to do is from our main project, we need to configure calls to our identity server to make sure that we get authentication and authorization tokens as needed. So what we'll do is we will have to configure the app settings inside our mango.web project where we have the product API. We need to add the API endpoint for identity server. So right here we can call this identity API and we will paste the URL that we copied. I will not leave the forward slash, we will just keep it like this. Let me close everything that we have open here and I will open up the startup class file. Here we will have to configure that we will be using authentication using OpenID Connect, and then we have to configure the OpenID Connect itself. How will we do that? Again, the startup file that we have open is from mango.web, which is our main project. We will be configuring that in configure services method. We will say services.add authentication and we will configure few options here, like what is the default scheme. So options.default scheme, we will be using cookies. We will be using cookies here and we'll set options.default challenge scheme. That will be OpenID Connect or OIDC. On that we will be adding cookie and we can configure the policies for cookie as well. So we can say go to c.expiry time. Let me set that to timespan.from minutes. Let me set that as 10 minutes. On this authentication, we will have to configure the OpenID Connect. For that, we will require NuGet packages. So on the web project, we will right click and select Manage NuGet packages. We will go to the Browse tab here and we will install the Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Authentication NuGet package. Along with that, we will also install the Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Authentication.OpenID Connect. And then we will need one package which is identity model.tokens.jwt. Perfect. Once we install all of this package, let me go back to the project here. And right here, we will now find add OpenID Connect. You can see that is inside ASP.NET Core.Authentication package. And right here, we will be configuring it as OIDC OpenID Connect. And we will be setting the options. We will have quite a few options here, so stay with me. The first one is options.authority. This will be the URL for identity server that we have set in appsettings.json file. So let me copy and paste that and open up the app settings. Not for the identity, we need the Mango project. Let me minimize everything else so we don't confuse ourselves. So in app settings, we have the name as identity API. We will use that right here. The next option is options.getClaims from user info endpoint. We will set that to be true. Then we have options.clientID. This client ID and all the configuration will be inside our identity project static details. So the client name that we used is Mango. So we will paste that here. The next option is option.clientSecret. If we go back to static details, we are just using a magic string as secret and not really a random grid or something secure because we are just testing our development project. Next one is options.responseType, and if you go back, the response type that we used is code. So we will go back here and this will be code. The next thing here is options.token validation parameter name claim type. We will set this to be name, and the next one for the role claim type, we will set that to be role. Lastly, we have to add the scope. So options.scope.add. The name of the scope that we used is Mango as well. So let me just type that and confirm that in magic string. Yes, the scope name is Mango. We will also save the tokens. So save token will be true. So with this, we have added quite a few configuration for our OpenID Connect, but everything you can see that we added here must match with what we have configured our identity server clients as well as resources and scope with. We have to use the same values. We will scroll to our configure method. We have authorization. We will also add app.use authentication. Always make sure that right here authentication will come before authorization. If you add it after that, things won't work. With this in our web project, we have configured the startup file to use the identity credentials from our identity server. So with that, we just need the login logout links and everything should be in place. Let's do that in the next video.